All right, ladies and gentlemen, you are welcome to another great episode on your favorite political talk show, The Truth, with Ben Jokes. Now, I like the way Arise TV reported this one. Tinubu, celebrating 2 years in office, says his administration's reforms are stabilizing the economy, cutting deficits, easing inflation, and attracting investments. He said those were his own confessions from the Aso Rock where he sits. But Nigerians are scoring him 1/10 and 2/10 as his scorecard. And one guy who scored him -5/10 confronted a Twitter user who scored Tinubu 2/10. The guy said, I scored him -5/10. You scored him 2/10. Oh yeah, come and defend the 2 that you awarded Tinubu. After all back and forth, we discovered that even the 2/10, like Tinubu's Chicago certificate, was forged. He didn't merit it. What a disaster. There is no single sector that Tinubu has not made worse than he met it. Even for southern Nigerians living in places like Abuja, Kano, Taraba, to travel home and see their parents is now war because of the cost of transportation. What a calamity. And that takes me to our top story. Tinubu was brutally disgraced by African youths after his speech at the last ECOWAS meeting in Lagos. After Tinubu's speech at that ECOWAS event, Nigerian youths realized that there is a military revolution going on already amongst the youths in other African countries, and the future of democracy among West African countries, including Nigeria, is not guaranteed. Before I show you details of these top stories and how Nigerians reacted, let me quickly show you this video. Now, I have warned here that Peter Obi must not return to the PDP because many of the party chiefs in PDP are working for Tinubu. But I am putting this video out here because of how Segun Showunmi, Atiku's former spokesperson, described the political strength of Peter Obi, because it buttresses my point as to why I maintain that Obi will defeat anybody if 2027 elections are free and fair. Watch this video.
With due respect, Peter is at liberty to do whatever he thinks is in his best interest, before we get the impression that anybody is forcing him or pushing him or dragging him or pulling him. No. What are the potential advantage first for Peter before I then go to the potential advantage for PDP? Because that party, People's Democratic Party of Nigeria, in my opinion, owes a southeastern debt. Sir Alex Ekweme, one of the drivers and the founders of this party, dragged the Indigbos into that party. He tried to be president in 1999. He came short in the primary, but notwithstanding that, the Indigbos have been very, very passionate, very consistent with the party. If you look at our numbers in the seasons when we used to win, between 1999 until 2015, including the 2015 and 2019, our biggest numbers came from them. And if you are part of those who believe that the pendulum, when it goes to the north for 8 years, must swing to the south for 8 years, then you have to ask, if the PDP is to go south, where is the equity for them? I hold a very strong view that that equity is in the southeast. Now, for Peter to be able to cash onto that equity, what does Peter bring to the table and what will Peter be earning? On the table is that with very little effort, he will bring in the southeast. He will bring in a lot of the numbers in the south side. Never mind the fact that governors are jumping up and down. He will bring in the Christian north, and he will bring in every middle, fair-minded Nigeria that is looking for a different type of country. That's what Peter will bring for PDP. And what will Peter get from PDP? He will be getting, however he even may be lazy with his campaign, he will be getting a grassroots party that understands that you can't go to election without having, what they call, there's one word I'm looking for, escape me now. Those people that agents, in every polling unit, he will get that. At the worst outing of PDP, the smallest number we ever got was the one that was allocated in 2023, which is 6.9. Before then, we would always bring in a respectable 12 point something million, sometimes 12 point something, and sometimes as high as 22 point something million. So if Peter thinks that that energy is good for him, it's for him to take that decision. If he doesn't believe that, he's at liberties to go and start struggling positions with people who think that he's a schoolboy who must be invited to come and be number two, never mind the fact that there's no reason why he should not desire number one. If Nnamdi Azikiwe was alive today, what would he have said to Peter? He would have said, and I dare guess to Peter, that, look, Peter, you have gotten back some political respect for us in Igbo land. Under no circumstance must, if they can, your message, they cannot respect your drive, they cannot respect your passion, then let them go and cast that vote and throw it in the Atlantic Ocean.
You saw that. Now, I repeat, my reason for putting this video out here is not to encourage Peter Obi to go back to PDP. I put this video out here because of some of the things that Segun Showunmi said in this video. He said that every Nigerian that wants this country to be different will gravitate towards Peter Obi. And that is how it should be. Clearly, we all know in this country that the only candidate that is ready to give us a different Nigeria is Peter Obi. So, if the North is tired of Tinubu, if they feel that Tinubu is not doing well, why are they not going to queue up behind a Peter Obi that is sure to do well? Oh, the reason is simple. They can't queue up behind him because he is an Igbo man. He has to deputize because he is an Igbo man. So if we are not going to cast aside these sentiments, why are you saying we should work together? Where is the guarantee that when it is his turn to run, you will not still say he is an Igbo man? For God's sake, when are we going to get tired of this nonsense of tribe and religion in this country? How can presidency, the highest seat of power in the land, be reduced to a regional or religious tool? This nonsense has to stop. This one has nothing to do with Tinubu now. We know the best candidate. Tinubu has not intervened in this one. All patriotic Nigerians, north, south, east, and west, should queue behind this man, Obi. He is the best candidate. If we cannot adopt the best candidate because of his religion or tribe, then we don't deserve redemption. Point blank, period. Now, let us look at the top story. Tinubu delivered one of the most hypocritical speeches of all time at the last ECOWAS meeting in Lagos. When you listen to this speech, you will begin to wonder if they were all high on drugs when they put this speech together. First, he urged ECOWAS leaders to implement policies and turn their words to actions, something that he has failed tremendously at. Then secondly, he began talking about how ECOWAS has been able to restore constitutional order, that is democracy, in places where military attempted to take over. But we all saw how ECOWAS failed to do the same thing in Niger Republic, Burkina Faso, and Mali. In fact, ECOWAS has failed in all their attempts in the last 2 years to restore constitutional order. But Tinubu said they did it. And he was dragged and embarrassed by African youths after the speech. But it was the comments from African youths bordering on military revolution in West Africa that stole the show. Look at how the papers reported it. Let our citizens feel the impact. Tinubu urges ECOWAS leaders to match policies with action. Bola Tinubu has urged Economic Community of West African States leaders to match policies with actions for real impact on citizens. Tinubu spoke in Lagos on Wednesday during the commemorative ceremony marking ECOWAS's 50th anniversary. He said the regional bloc is lagging in policy implementation and urged member states to turn plans into action. Tinubu highlighted the organization's achievements, noting its efforts in expanding trade, restoring constitutional order, and launching bold strategies to enhance food security and promote regional development. Our region has pioneered a free movement, expanded intra-trade, regional trade, and deepened integration. These measures have facilitated business, cultural heritages, and mobility across West Africa, he said. Of peace and security, ECOWAS has acted decisively to restore constitutional order and counter instability. Our regional cooperation on counterterrorism and financial crime reflects our shared commitment to peace and safety. But despite our progress, challenges remain. Our greatest task now is implementation. We are lagging behind on implementation, and I urge all member states to match policy with action. Let all our citizens feel the real impact of our shared efforts. Now, the two issues he raised here are completely shocking. You are urging other ECOWAS leaders to make their citizens feel the impact. Meanwhile, your own citizens back at home are not feeling any impact. If anything, it is negative impact. Then secondly, you said ECOWAS has moved swiftly to counter people who try to take away constitutional order. Yes, you moved swiftly, but you failed woefully. But you know what? While Nigerian youths were criticizing the hypocrisy in this speech, youths from other African countries were acting as if they didn't even hear the speech at all. All of them just began talking about military takeover. The moment they saw it was a meeting of ECOWAS, all they were talking about was military takeover. Let's take some of the tweet reactions from Nigerian youths and youths from other African countries. This tweet here by Awesome, obviously a Nigerian youth, says, "It is possible drug is affecting this man again because the speech by Tinubu crossed the borders of hypocrisy. It became so delusional." And Alliance here says, "Talk is cheap. Tinubu is calling out ECOWAS leaders. But what about his own homework, inflation and loans?" Now, those were two youths from Nigeria. But this is Peter Nduati from another African country. And he says, "These generals should conquer Africa. Maybe democracy was not our thing." And another tweet by H-Town Al-Kebulan from another African country. He said, "Congo, Nigeria, Ivory Coast, Sudan. Once these countries march to the same beat, it will be a wrap." He's talking about a military takeover. And Traubalas here from Zimbabwe says, "And Zimbabwe, South Africa, Mozambique, Botswana, Zambia, and Central Africa." Then H-Town replied, he said, "Yes, the entire continent. But if you start with Nigeria, Sudan, Congo, and Ivory Coast, everything else will fall." And believe me, there is a military revolution ongoing in Africa. The youths have totally embraced it. It appears as if Nigeria is the only country in West Africa where young people have not aligned fully with what is happening. Remember the reception that the military got in Niger Republic when they took over? It was massive. And that shows that democracy is completely dead in that country. And why not? When you have a personality like Jagaban leading ECOWAS, no normal person should take such an organization seriously. And he was urging the leaders of ECOWAS there to make implementation their thing, to match their words with actions. And then you begin to wonder that level of hypocrisy. This is a man who has been in office for 2 years, and there is nothing you said you were going to do that you have done. Well, he didn't even say much in the campaigns, but the former national vice chairman of APC, Salisu Lukman, who was part of the campaign team, was speaking 2 days ago that he went and brought out the hard copy of the renewed hope agenda that they compiled, and he took his time to painstakingly read from the beginning to the end. And he said what is happening now is not even anywhere near the things that were written in that document. So this is you now betraying your own self. And remember, Tinubu was speaking in a meeting during the campaigns. He said, "By all means, you will have electricity and you will not pay for estimated billings anymore. If I do not keep to my promise, if I come back for a second term, don't vote for me." That was what he said with his own mouth. Today, estimated billing is what we are still doing. The light we no see. Instead of apologizing to the people, even if it is a fake apology, Tinubu and his cohorts are going all around town saying that they have done well, that their policies have begun bearing fruits, lying to the people and rubbing insult upon injury. But I'm not surprised. This is the APC. They have come to steal, to kill, and to destroy. And that is why I keep telling Nigerians that for us to have a country that we can be proud of in the near future, we must come together, cast our sentiments aside, and get the APC out of power. But until then, make I still enter town. Make I go get some ogbonge political news wey una go like. Why? Because of una na I dey here, so don't go away. Don't go away.